I want to start this video off with a full game spoiler warning. If you have not completed Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, I suggest that you come back to this video after you've done so. In this video, I'll be covering the current strategy for the free category of Uniquely Disadvantaged. If you want more background on this guide series, I'll have a link in the description to the first video in the series where I talk more about the structure of this series. I'll also have other useful links for mechanics and other general information in the description, as well as a link to a Pastebin with the written version of the build and the strategy I'll be using in this video. Additionally, since the strategy uses a Replica Monado, I'll be linking the previous guide in the description in case you don't have access to them. That guide will still be marked as outdated in the playlist though. With all that out of the way, let's get into the build. The primary character that we're going to be using in this TA is going to be Riki. We're going to want to have the Monado Rudra on him, though if you don't have access to the Rudra, the Abyss would be the next best, followed by the Agni. For gems on Riki, we're going to be running Electric Plus, Attack Stability, and First Atk Plus, 2 Ether Up gems, Attack Plus from an Ether Frame, Initial Tension, and Quick Step. In theory, you could swap out First Atk Plus for Critical Up to get a more consistent Wave 2 at the cost of a potentially less consistent Wave 3. However, in the current record, I used First Atk Plus instead of Critical Up, and we'll discuss a little bit as to why that is a little bit later on. For Charla, we're going to be running the Endless Rifle with Weapon Power, Ether Defense Down, and Double Attack, as well as 2 Strength Up gems, Haste from the Glory Gauntlets, Agility Up, and Quick Step. And finally for Melia, we're going to be running the Meteor Staff with Weapon Power, Ether Defense Down, and Double Attack, as well as 2 Strength Up gems, Haste from the Glory Gauntlets, Agility Up, and Quick Step. Basically, Charla and Melia are just here to inflict Ether Defense Down on the enemies, so we're just setting up the build so they'll actually be able to consistently hit Abyssy in Wave 3 and attempt to inflict that. For arts on Riki, you're going to have Final Cross in the talent art, Activate Monado, or anything else that lets you use your talent art from infinite range, and Hero Time. All of these arts should be max level. On Charlie, you're just going to have Shield Bullet. It doesn't matter what level Shield Bullet is, as we don't really care about the cooldown or the damage immunity on it. And finally, on Melia, you're going to want to have Summon Bolt. It's very important that this is level 12 since the cooldown of it matters a lot for this strategy. Then finally, I'm just going to go ahead and scroll through the skill trees. I have a few skills that reduce damage taken. Overall, these aren't that important. The only really quote-unquote optional skill that I highly recommend having is on Riki, having the Reduce Blowdown, or the Blowdown Immunity skill linked from Dunban, as this can make it so that you don't get blown down by Blizzard Bel'Ghazos, which can happen somewhat infrequently, but it does have the potential to kill runs, so I highly recommend at least linking that skill. Finally on Melia, it's worth knowing that we're running Amazing Stars on her to reduce cooldown at night. As I said, the cooldown of Summon Bolt matters a lot for this strategy, and that is needed in order to have the cooldown as fast as we need. With all that out of the way, let's get into the video review section of this video. So in this section of the video, I'm going to be talking through my current PB as of the time of recording this. So the strategy for Wave 1 is that we're going to want to run forward until we're about at this line here on the ground with the little bump. At that point, we're going to use Hero Time into Final Cross. Additionally, whenever Melia is finished drawing her weapon, but before Charlotte is finished drawing her weapon, we're going to want to switch our allies to come to me. This will have Melia use Summon Bolt without Charlotte using Shield Bullet. This is important because Melia will have Summon Bolt off cooldown by the end of Wave 2, and we need the Ether Up to make Wave 2 more consistent. However, Charlo, we do not want to use Shield Bullet, as we need to have Shield Bullet available by the end of Wave 2, and the cooldown simply cannot be fast enough. We'll get a bit more into the reason of why that is a little bit later once we're actually talking about Wave 2. For now, we can go ahead and watch this, though. So up to the line and use the 2 arts. And you can see Melia uses Summon Bolt while Charlotte just runs straight over to us. We can go and watch this a little bit slow so we can get a better idea of what's happening here. As you can see, while Charlotte's still in the animation of pulling out her weapon, Melia starts moving forward and starts using Summon Bolt. It's at this time that you use Come to Me, so Melia will continue using Summon Bolt, and Charlotte will get the command before she's finished drawing her weapon, so she won't use an art herself. If you get the Ether up from hero time, this will always kill all 3 enemies. So for wave 2, we're running to about the right side of this little insignia on the ground here. We're going to want to target onto Territorial Rotbart and use Activate Monado to use Final Cross and kill off both of them. Whichever Gogol you're targeting will always die because of the First Atk Plus. However, the one that we are not targeting, you need to get at least 2 critical hits on to kill. Additionally, just before the 3rd hit of Final Cross lands, we're going to want to switch our allies from... I guess I should go back a little bit. Whenever we use Final Cross, we're going to want to use Come to Me so our allies do not start attacking yet. However, once the 3rd hit of Final Cross is going to land, we're going to want to switch our allies to focus your attacks. This will make both of them use their arts right as the wave is ending. We can go ahead and watch this now. So when I get to the edge of the insignia, I use Final Cross, and I currently have my ally set to Come to Me. And right here, just before the last hit lands, I switch my allies to focus your attacks, and then they'll both use their arts. And the reason why this is important is for wave 3. So you essentially want to instantly target onto Avalanche Abacy and go ahead and start spamming Final Cross. This will allow for both of your allies to avoid sheathing their weapons as they were in art animations during the downtime between fights. This means that they will instantly start auto-attack, running towards an auto-attacking Abacy, Charlotte not even needing to move since she auto-attacks from range. And if you get lucky with the Ether Defense down and critical hits, you will kill both of them on the 2nd hit of the 2nd Final Cross. Now let's go ahead and back up a little bit to talk about the difference between using First Atk Plus and Critical Up. As I mentioned, Critical Up will get you a more consistent wave 2. You will get... So with using First Atk Plus, if my math is correct, you have about a 33% chance to kill off both of the Gogols in wave 2 with a single Final Cross. This is because the critical hit rate is so much lower, so even though we only need to get 2 critical hits on one of the Gogols, it still makes it relatively inconsistent. If you're running critical hit, if you're using critical up, English, if you're running critical up, then you only need to get 2 critical hits on one of them and only 1 critical hit on another one. This averages out, if my math is correct, which it very much might not be, this is about a 90% chance to happen because the crit rate is so much higher and there's so many more possible combinations that can be successful. So that would make this more consistent. However, it makes wave 3 a lot less consistent because you need to get a critical hit on Avalanche Abacy on almost every attack. Plus, Charlotte needs to have haste up in order to inflict Ether Defense down early enough for that strategy to even work. So as you can see here, in this instance where Charlotte has haste, the Ether Defense down lands just like frames before the 2nd hit of Final Cross. And you would need this to happen in order to have enough damage with the critical hit up build, or the crit rate up build. If you're just using First Atk Plus, this Ether Defense down can land after the 2nd hit of Final Cross, and you can still be fine. This also increases your odds of getting Ether Defense down that matters, because of the fact that Charlotte getting a double attack and getting Ether Defense down the 2nd hit can actually matter. I don't know exact odds, and it'd be really difficult to calculate what the chances are of actually getting a good outcome, but it's about it's about a 1 in 3 chance for Charlotte to have haste. I believe it's a 36% chance for Charlotte to have haste by the end of wave 2 with the build that we currently are running. That's about all I have to say about this, though. Like I said, I personally use First Atk Plus. I think that it is more consistent, though I'm not 100% sure, and that is the build that I use. I'll go ahead and let this play out as we go ahead and finish this up, but that's about it for this video. I hope that you found this helpful if you were at all interested in running this TA, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below. With all that out of the way, I will see you in the next video. See ya.